Long before gunpowder, before engines, before electricity, human beings learned a brutal truth. Survival belonged to those who mastered technology. On ancient battlefields, innovation meant the difference between victory and annihilation. The armies that shaped history did not simply fight harder, they fought smarter, armed with tools that changed the fate of civilizations. This is the story of how ancient armies became the world's first engineers of war. In the ancient world, war was constant. Kingdoms rose and fell, not just by courage or leadership, but by their ability to equip soldiers with effective tools. Early warfare began with bare hands, clubs, and stones. But as societies settled and resources accumulated, conflict escalated. Agriculture created surplus. Surplus created cities. Cities created competition. And competition demanded better weapons. Technology, in its most primal form, became humanity's answer to fear. Metalworking, construction, logistics, and communication all evolved under the pressure of organized violence. Armies were no longer mobs of fighters, they became systems, and every system required technology. The earliest military technologies emerged from nature itself. Stone blades, wooden spears hardened by fire, and animal hide shields defying prehistoric warfare. But everything changed with metallurgy. The Bronze Age introduced alloyed metal weapons that were stronger, sharper, and more durable than stone. Swords, axes, and spearheads could now be standardized. This allowed armies to equip thousands of soldiers with similar gear, an early form of mass production. Bronze also reshaped social hierarchies. Skilled metalworkers became essential. Control over copper and tin deposits became strategic assets. Wars were no longer just fought over land, but over resources required to make weapons. Then came iron. Iron weapons were cheaper and more abundant than bronze, allowing even larger armies to form. Empires like Assyria mastered ironworking and combined it with brutal efficiency. Their soldiers carried iron swords, iron-tipped spears, and wore scale armor, small, overlapping metal plates that distributed force and resisted slashing blows. Armor itself was a technological marvel. Linen armor layered and glued together could stop arrows. Leather cuirasses provided mobility. Bronze and iron helmets were shaped to deflect blows rather than absorb them directly. Every curve was intentional. Defensive technology advanced just as rapidly. Shields evolved from simple wooden planks into composite designs, wood, layered with leather, bronze rims, and central bosses to deflect strikes. The Greek hoplite shield, the aspis, was not just protection. It was a weapon and a formation tool. Phalanxes relied on shield overlap, turning individual soldiers into parts of a single machine. Formations were technology too. The phalanx, the Roman manipular legion, and later the cohort system were innovations in battlefield organization. These formations required discipline, training, and communication. Drums, horns, and standardized commands acted as early battlefield signaling systems. Projectiles revolutionized combat at distance. Bows evolved from simple self-bows to composite bows made of wood, horn, and sinew. These bows stored more energy and delivered devastating force. Assyrian and later Mongol-style composite bows could penetrate armor at remarkable distances. The sling, often underestimated, was a precision weapon capable of cracking skulls with stone or lead projectiles. Siege warfare marked a turning point in military technology. Once humans built walls, they needed ways to break them. Battering rams were mounted on wheeled frames and protected by hides soaked in water to resist fire. Siege towers allowed soldiers to fight at wall height. Ladders were engineered for stability and speed. Then came torsion-powered artillery. The Greeks and Romans developed ballistae and catapults using twisted sinew or hair to store energy. These machines hurled stones, bolts, and even incendiaries over walls. They were calibrated, measured, and operated by trained crews, true mechanical weapons. Roman military engineering was unmatched. Roads allowed rapid troop movement. Forts were built with standardized layouts. Camps could be constructed overnight with trenches, ramparts, and gates. Logistics, food supply, equipment repair, medical treatment were all technological systems supporting warfare. Naval warfare brought its own innovations. Ancient warships like triremes were floating weapons platforms. Their bronze rams were designed to pierce hulls. Naval tactics depended on speed, coordination, and precise shipbuilding techniques. Psychological technology also played a role. War banners, armor design, intimidating helmets, and synchronized marching created fear. Sound drums, horns, shouted chants was used deliberately to overwhelm enemies before fighting even began. Even chemistry had its place. Incendiary weapons like Greek fire, though later, had ancient precursors, pitch, oil, and sulfur mixtures designed to burn structures and ships. Every invention carried consequences. As weapons improved, battles became deadlier. As armor thickened, weapons adapted. It was a cycle of escalation technology chasing technology. Ancient military technology reshaped the world. It enabled empires to expand across continents. It forced societies to organize labor, taxation, and governance on unprecedented scales. It accelerated engineering, mathematics, and material science. Many civilian technologies emerged directly from military needs: roads, bridges, metallurgy, medical practices, and logistics systems. The infrastructure of empire was built to support armies first, citizens second, but the cost was immense. Entire populations were displaced or destroyed. Cities fell not because of courage alone, but because technology tipped the balance. War became less personal, more systematic. And once that transformation began, it never truly stopped. When we look at modern warfare with drones, satellites, and algorithms, we often imagine a sharp break from the past. But the truth is far more unsettling. The ancient soldier adjusting his helmet, gripping his shield, trusting in the technology of his time, was not so different from today's. Ancient armies remind us that technology is never neutral. It reflects our fears, our ambitions, and our willingness to reshape the world, sometimes at a terrible cost. The weapons have changed, the questions have not. And as long as humans seek power, protection, and dominance, the shadow of ancient battlefields will continue to stretch into our future.